everybody, Mr. O here, going over week 13's map. It's called a physical map of North America. So first thing we always do, take a look up at the title. And we know it's a physical map, and that's going to help us out as we go through the week. Second place I always look is over here at the legend, and it tells me what the major deserts look like, what the major mountain range symbol is going to be, the highest point symbol, and those types of things. So when I look at a map, I always look at those two things first, the title and the legend, and it'll help me out. Now, a physical map is going to show landforms, and it's going to show waterways. And so if we were given an assignment to look up the capitals, we would not use a physical map because that's not going to be what's shown on a physical map. Again, physical maps, landforms, waterways. If we were asked to look up the capitals, as our example showed, that would be a political map. So this is going to be landforms, this is going to be waterways, and we'll kind of start with that. Now, a couple things. There are lots of different types of landforms on here. I can tell just from my legend that we've got deserts and mountains on here. But I can also see, just by looking, that I see some plains, and I see something called a Canadian Shield, which maybe I'll need to know a little bit more about. I can see some peninsulas and other items on here. So just kind of taking a look around, there's lots of different types, and that's going to help us, especially with Monday's question. There are also different types of waterways. I see oceans, I see gulfs, I see rivers, I see all kinds of different things as well, and so lots of different variety happening. One of the things I wanted to point out is the Rocky Mountains, which is right through this area. And actually, the Sierra Madres down here through Mexico are an extension of that. So our Rocky Mountains really go all the way up from close to Alaska down into Mexico. So that's a very long and probably the largest mountain range in North America. It goes through Canada, it goes through the United States, and it goes through Mexico. Now, when we're looking at some waterways around North America, we can see Arctic Ocean, we can see Pacific Ocean, we can see the Atlantic Ocean, so we have 3 oceans. We also have lots of gulfs. We've got the Gulf of Mexico, we have the Gulf of California, we have the Gulf of Alaska, we have the Gulf of St. Lawrence up there, so lots of different gulfs. Some of them pour out into the Atlantic Ocean, so they're on this eastern side of North America, and some of them are actually more pouring into the Pacific. So there may be a question about which ocean they're going into. You know, another thing that pops out as I'm looking at this is that there are 2 main huge features that kind of take up a lot of room right through the center or middle part, and that's the interior plains up in Canada and the Great Plains right here in the United States. It just takes a great deal of space, and so they take up a lot of room between those 2 countries. You know, while we're in that area, I wanted to hit the Canadian Shield for just a second, and the Canadian Shield really is a rock formation, and it kind of makes a U shape around the Hudson Bay area right here. And you know, it's an interesting thing. We don't use the word shield that often, but it's ancient rock, and it covers most of eastern Canada. We're going to move a little bit over into our Caribbean area, and we talked about this in an earlier map, but we've got the Greater Antilles and we have the Lesser Antilles. And the Greater Antilles, of course, are the 4 major big islands. We've got Cuba, we've got Jamaica, Hispaniola, and we've got Puerto Rico. And so those 4 islands are going to make up the Greater Antilles, or the Large Antilles. And then over here we've got the smaller islands, which there are too many to name. And you don't need to know the names of those, but just know that the smaller islands are the Lesser Antilles. So those are the 2 main groups of islands. One of the things that I want you to notice on a map like this is, while it tells you most of the answers, it doesn't tell you all of the answers. For example, let's look at Baja California for a moment. Baja California, what is it? It doesn't say what it is, but if you look it up, it'll tell you that it's a peninsula because it juts out into the water here, and it's got water on each side. So Baja California is a peninsula. And really, you know, it's funny because you think of the word California and you think of California in the United States, but Baja California is not in the United States. Baja California is actually part of Mexico, where the central or main part of Mexico is right through this area, and then Baja is just off to the west. Some of you may have heard of Cabo San Lucas, right on the very tippy bottom of Baja California. It's a popular tourist location. If we take a look at kind of what we've shared here in the video, I think it will give you a good head start on the map. If you've got questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. But just taking a look at the title and the legend, and then once we find that the deserts are this shape, and looking for the deserts, and we can see some of those right through there, we know that that's desert. Major mountain ranges are kind of the lines here. That helps us. We can really determine a lot. And then heck, it's all labeled. So we don't really need to do much other than just kind of poke around and look. And that's really what maps are. You can just get a lot of information based from what's already on there. So hopefully that helps you. And if you got any questions, again, let me know. Thanks for listening.